"You're too slow, old man," the gang leader sneered, shoving the 78-year-old janitor against the mall's cold tile floor. "This is our territory now." Security cameras captured everything, but the guards looked away. The elderly man quietly reached for his phone, dialed a number he hadn't used in 15 years, then calmly continued mopping. 20 minutes later, black SUVs surrounded the entire shopping complex. The FBI director himself stepped out. "Where are the men who touched Agent Samuel Torres?" Type, respect, if you believe some people should never be underestimated. Samuel Sam Torres was 78 years old, with silver hair and hands that trembled slightly from arthritis. For the past 3 years, he'd worked the night shift as a janitor at Westfield Shopping Center. His quiet demeanor and methodical cleaning routine made him nearly invisible to most people. The worn photo in his wallet showed a younger version of himself in a crisp FBI suit, but those days seemed like a lifetime ago. The mall had become a gathering spot for a local gang known as the Red Serpents. They'd claimed the food court as their territory, intimidating shoppers and harassing store employees. Management was too afraid to intervene, and local police seemed overwhelmed by the gang's growing influence. That Tuesday night, Sam was following his usual routine, mopping floors, emptying trash bins, and ensuring every surface gleamed for the morning shoppers. He'd always taken pride in his work, no matter how simple others might consider it. As he approached the food court with his cleaning cart, he noticed the Red Serpents had left a mess of food containers and graffiti on the tables. Without hesitation, Sam began cleaning. He'd seen worse chaos during his 30-year career with the Bureau, and a few overturned chairs didn't intimidate him. The gang leader, a 25-year-old named Marcus Viper Rodriguez, watched with growing irritation. "Hey, old man," Marcus called out, his voice echoing through the empty mall. "Can't you see we're still here?" Sam continued wiping the tables methodically, his arthritis making each movement deliberate but determined. "Just doing my job, son," he replied quietly, not looking up from his work. Marcus stood up, his leather jacket creaking as he moved. The serpent tattoo on his neck seemed to writhe in the fluorescent lighting. "This is our spot now. Find somewhere else to clean." Sam paused, looking at the young man with eyes that had interrogated serial killers and negotiated with terrorists. "I clean this entire mall every night. Been doing it for 3 years, not planning to stop tonight." The confrontation escalated quickly. Marcus's crew, 6 other gang members, surrounded Sam, their laughter echoing off the empty storefronts. One of them kicked over Sam's cleaning bucket, sending soapy water across the freshly mopped floor. "Look at this old fool," Marcus sneered. "Probably makes minimum wage and thinks he owns the place." Sam knelt down to clean up the spilled water, his movements slow but steady. That's when Marcus made his fatal mistake. He shoved Sam hard, sending the elderly man sprawling across the wet floor. Sam's hip hit the ground with a sickening thud, and his cleaning supplies scattered everywhere. "Stay down, Grandpa," Marcus laughed, stepping on Sam's hand. "Maybe now you'll learn some respect." The mall's security guards, watching from their office monitors, did nothing. They'd been instructed by management to avoid confrontations with the gang. The night manager had gone home early, leaving explicit orders not to call police unless someone was seriously injured. Sam lay on the cold floor for a moment, feeling the familiar ache in his bones that reminded him of his age. But as he slowly pushed himself up, something else stirred within him, the same calm determination that had once made him one of the FBI's most respected agents. He reached into his pocket, past his wallet and cleaning cloth, and pulled out a phone he rarely used. The contact list contained only 3 numbers, his doctor, his landlord, and one marked simply Director. The phone rang twice before a familiar voice answered. "Sam, is everything okay? You know I'm in a budget meeting, right?" Director Catherine Kate Morrison had been Sam's partner 20 years ago, before climbing the ranks to lead the entire Federal Bureau of Investigation. She was one of the few people who knew why Sam had really retired early, and she'd always told him to call if he ever needed anything. "Kate," Sam said quietly, still lying on the mall floor while the gang members laughed nearby. "I've got a situation at Westfield Shopping Center. Nothing I can't handle, but these kids need to learn about consequences." Kate's voice immediately sharpened. She knew Sam's tone, calm, measured, and absolutely serious. "Are you hurt? Do you need medical assistance?" "I'm fine," Sam replied, slowly standing up and dusting off his uniform. "But we have a group here who think intimidation is acceptable. I thought maybe the Bureau might want to have a conversation with them." Kate understood immediately. "Sam, are you telling me someone put their hands on you?" "Among other things," Sam said, watching as Marcus continued to taunt him. "They've also been running protection rackets on the local businesses. I've been documenting it for months just in case." Because that was Sam's secret. The FBI's most decorated undercover agent had never really retired. He'd simply changed his cover. For 3 years, he'd been gathering intelligence on gang activity throughout the city, using his janitor position to access areas and observe conversations that would have been impossible for any active agent. Kate's voice carried the authority of someone who'd risen to the top of federal law enforcement. "Hold your position, Agent Torres. I'm mobilizing a response team now." Sam ended the call and calmly put his phone away. Marcus, emboldened by what he saw as the old man's submission, stepped closer. "Who'd you call, Pops?" "Your social worker?" Sam began collecting his scattered cleaning supplies, each movement deliberate and methodical. "I called someone who needed to know about this conversation," he said simply. At FBI headquarters in downtown, Kate Morrison's budget meeting came to an abrupt end. She'd recognized something in Sam's voice that she hadn't heard in years, the same tone he'd used before taking down the largest organized crime syndicate in the city's history. "I need a tactical response team mobilized to Westfield Shopping Center immediately," she commanded, her assistant scrambling to keep up with her rapid-fire instructions. "Full surveillance equipment, arrest protocols, and I want every available agent on scene in 15 minutes. "Ma'am, is this an active threat situation?" her deputy director asked. Kate's smile was cold and professional. "Someone just assaulted a federal agent. I'd say that qualifies as an active threat." Back at the mall, Sam continued his cleaning routine while the gang members grew bolder. They knocked over more trash cans, spray-painted additional graffiti, and made increasingly aggressive comments. Marcus even went so far as to pour his drink on the floor Sam had just mopped. "Clean that up, old man," Marcus commanded, "and maybe I'll let you keep working here." Sam looked at the spilled liquid, then at Marcus, with the same expression he'd once used while interrogating suspects. "Son, do you know what the federal penalty is for assaulting a law enforcement officer?" Marcus burst out laughing. "What are you talking about, crazy old man? You're a janitor." "I'm a lot of things," Sam replied quietly, continuing to clean. "Janitor is just one of them." 20 minutes after Sam's phone call, the first black SUV arrived in the mall parking lot. Then another, then 6 more. The FBI tactical response team surrounded the building with military precision, cutting off every exit and establishing a command center in the parking lot. Director Morrison herself stepped out of the lead vehicle, wearing a bulletproof vest over her business suit and carrying the kind of authority that makes grown men reconsider their life choices. The mall's night security guards, watching their monitors in panic, finally called the building manager. "Sir, there are federal agents surrounding the entire complex. They're asking for access to the food court area." Inside the mall, Marcus and his crew were still taunting Sam when they heard the unmistakable sound of tactical boots on marble floors. The gang members exchanged nervous glances as the echoing footsteps grew closer. "FBI! Building is secured!" The voice carried the kind of authority that cuts through bravado like a knife through paper. Marcus spun around to see 8 federal agents in full tactical gear approaching the food court, their weapons drawn, but pointed safely downward. Director Morrison entered last, her heels clicking against the floor Sam had been trying to clean. She surveyed the scene, the overturned cleaning supplies, the graffiti, the gang members standing frozen in shock, and her expression hardened. "Agent Torres," she said formally, "please identify the individuals who assaulted you." Sam straightened up, and for the first time that night, his true bearing became visible. The arthritic janitor disappeared, replaced by a man who'd spent 3 decades earning the respect of the nation's top law enforcement agency. "Director Morrison," Sam replied, his voice carrying new authority. The primary aggressor is Marcus Rodriguez, also known as Viper. He initiated physical contact and has been running protection schemes on local businesses for approximately 6 months. Marcus's jaw dropped as he processed what he was hearing. You're a cop?" Kate Morrison stepped forward, her voice carrying the full weight of federal authority. Agent Samuel Torres spent 30 years with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. He was instrumental in dismantling organized crime networks throughout this region. He also holds the Bureau's highest commendation for undercover operations. She paused, letting the information sink in before continuing. "And 3 hours ago, you assaulted him while he was conducting a federal investigation." The gang members looked at each other in growing panic. Marcus stammered, I didn't know. He's just a janitor." "He's whatever the Bureau needs him to be," Kate replied coldly. "And right now, he's been gathering evidence on your organization's criminal activities for the past 3 years." Sam reached into his cleaning cart and pulled out a small recording device, along with detailed notebooks documenting times, dates, and criminal activities. "Every conversation, every threat, every illegal transaction in this mall for the past 36 months, he said calmly. "All properly documented and admissible in federal court." The arrest process was swift and professional. Marcus and his crew were read their rights and escorted out of the mall in handcuffs, while Sam provided detailed testimony to the investigating agents. As the tactical team finished securing the scene, Kate approached Sam with a mixture of admiration and concern. "Sam, are you really okay? When you called, I thought—" Sam smiled for the first time that night. "Kate, I've been in worse situations, but I figured it was time these kids learned that actions have consequences." "The janitor cover was brilliant," Kate admitted. "Nobody suspects the person cleaning up after them." Sam gestured to his cleaning supplies, which the FBI evidence team was now photographing. "Best surveillance position I ever had. People say everything in front of the help." 1 week later, local news stations reported the arrests of the Red Serpents gang on federal racketeering charges. The shopping center implemented new security measures and hired additional staff to ensure customer safety. Sam returned to his night shift routine, but now the mall employees treated him with obvious respect. Store managers would nod politely when he passed, and security guards made sure to check on him regularly. The young man who'd replaced Marcus as the temporary food court manager approached Sam during his second week back. "Sir, I wanted to apologize for how you were treated. None of us knew." Sam looked up from his mopping, his expression kind but firm. "Son, you didn't need to know who I was to know that what happened was wrong. The badge doesn't make the person's actions make them worthy of the badge." Sam looked around the mall, at the clean floors, the safe walkways, the families who could now shop without fear, and smiled. "Kate, I never stopped serving. I just changed my uniform." Kate finished her coffee and stood to leave, but paused. "Sam, one last question. Do you ever miss the old days, the recognition, the authority?" Sam gestured toward a young security guard making his rounds with obvious pride in his work. "Kate, every night here is recognition. That guard used to think about dropping out of college. Now he's studying criminal justice because he wants to serve like Mr. Torres." "And the teenager at the pretzel stand?" Kate followed Sam's gaze to a young woman helping customers with genuine enthusiasm. "She used to hang around with Marcus's crew. Now she's saving every penny for nursing school. Last week she told me I was the first adult who ever believed she could amount to something." Kate smiled, beginning to understand the deeper transformation. "You're not just cleaning floors, are you?" "I'm cleaning up futures," Sam replied quietly. "One conversation, one example, one act of dignity at a time. That's the longest-lasting kind of law enforcement there is." 2 weeks later, Kate received an unexpected call. "Kate, I wanted you to meet someone." Sam's voice carried a warmth she rarely heard from him during their FBI days. At the mall that evening, Kate was introduced to David Rodriguez, Marcus's 17-year-old brother. The family resemblance was unmistakable, but where Marcus had carried anger, David radiated quiet determination. "Ms. Morrison," David said respectfully, "Mr. Torres taught me that my brother's choices don't have to define mine. I'm organizing youth programs now, helping kids find better paths. Kate watched as David led a group of teenagers in setting up chairs for a community meeting. Sam, this is extraordinary. You've turned a gang leader's brother into a community organizer. He turned himself around, Sam corrected gently. I just showed him what service looks like. Sometimes that's all people need, someone who believes in their potential instead of their past. As the evening progressed, Kate observed the remarkable network Sam had quietly built. Former troublemakers now volunteered as mentors. Struggling students received tutoring from retired teachers who'd started visiting the mall. Local business owners contributed to a scholarship fund David had established. Sam, Kate said as they watched the community meeting unfold, the Bureau could learn from this approach. We're always focused on arrests, but you're actually preventing crime at its source. Sam nodded thoughtfully. Kate, I spent 30 years arriving at crime scenes. Now I get to prevent them from happening in the first place. Which approach do you think has more lasting impact? That question would lead Kate to propose the FBI's first community integration program. But that night, she simply watched in awe as Sam finished his shift, not just cleaning the mall, but nurturing the community that had grown around his quiet leadership. Type honor if you believe true service comes in many forms, and the most important battles are often fought by the people we see but never really notice.